This is Joe Peters with MomFit with Joe Peters. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network and the H.E.R Network on Single TV channels 250 and 251. Please remember to download the Single TV app in the respective app stores, iOS and Android devices. While you are downloading, make sure that you rate and leave a comment. The app is free. Single TV can be watched and is available in all the Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV, Roku, and Roku sticks around the world in all smart TVs since 2016. Now, I am super excited to have this conversation with somebody that is an expert and is dedicating her life to work on wellness. Dr. Beckford and Dr. Tamara Beckford is a board certified emergency physician, wife, and mom. She is the CEO of Your Caring Dogs, where she helps companies to create amazing cultures and reduce employee burnout through curated self care workshops. She also hosts the Tamara Beckford Show, where she interviews over 155 physicians about self care, wellness, and the fantastic things that they are doing inside and outside the clinical medicine. Dr. Bedford has been a guest on dozens of podcasts and has discussed the importance of wellness on many platforms, including Power to Fly, Scale Your Business Summit, Grants Professional Association, and Blaze Virtual Summit. She's also a successful mentor at the Entry MD Business School, EBS, the largest school for physician entrepreneurs in the United States. Dr. Bedford, thank you so much for being here with us. I am super excited to have you here. And I would love if we can start with a little bit of your story, a little bit
Mhm.
about how you start working on self care and as a mom, why self care for moms is important for you. I know that one of the phrases that I love that you put on when we were preparing for the show was successful moms don't do it all. They
Mhm.
only do what matters most and know that self care is not a luxury, but a requirement for success. So let's gonna start from there and see how you came to that phrase and where is your passion for self-care, especially for moms in this crazy world that sometimes we live.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is a crazy world that we live. So first I want to thank you for having me and hello to all the moms that's out there watching. We honor you. We know what you're going through. You're not alone. And that's why we want you to know how important it is for self-care, so that you don't keep putting yourself on the back burner, right? So how did I get to this part of my journey, as you mentioned? As I am a physician, I'm an emergency medicine physician, actually. And yes, I still practice and I still work full time. During the pandemic, I recognized that I was faring out a lot better than my colleagues. And what I noticed was the difference was my self care routine. At that point, prior to the pandemic, I really didn't have a self care routine. And I know you're there listening, and a lot of people who hear the word self care are thinking, well, did your self care routine mean you started going to the spa and getting your nails done? I mean, how could you have done that? It's the pandemic. And it's like, no, that's not what self care really is. Self care is really putting yourself first. And it really requires you to bring yourself back to where you were when you felt at your best. Now, it's awesome that we have these wonderful titles now in our lives, such as moms. Some of you have titles like, significant other titles, you have career titles. But before all of that, you were you. Think about when you were 7 years old, things that you loved to do then, right? Did you like to read? Did you like to listen to music? Did you like to laugh? Those are things that are part of your self care. So I really started to incorporate, those in my life. And I found that it made me less anxious. And think about it. I'm an emergency medicine physician during the height of the pandemic, where we had no idea what was going on. And all the people who were sick were coming to me. Like I had to run to the fire as opposed to run away from it. but yet still I found time to really center myself and make myself feel at my best, and it released a lot of anxiety. And that's part of self-care, and that's why I recognized the importance of it in the difference, the way that I reacted, or I should say responded to that part of life where we all had a chaotic portion versus some of my colleagues who, some were dads, some were moms, but their response were different. So what I'm saying to you as a mom, like we're saying, yes, you do not have to do it all to be successful, right? But make sure that you're putting the oxygen on yourself first. Finding ways within your day to make sure that you are centering and you remember that before you were mom of little baby A, little baby B, or C, you were you. So keep that portion of you and that identity alive, and it'll help so much throughout this process. And we'll discuss further, some of the additional ways we can do that.
And one of the things that I love about you, Dr. Beckford, being here
Hmm.
is because we as moms were taught that, well, you don't have time. Again, it's a luxury,
Yeah.
but all of those almost 600,000 moms that are watching us on this show are
Hmm.
going to remember from now on is, if Dr. Beckford, as an emergency room doctor in the middle of the pandemic, was able to have time for her self-care and see how that impact positively, that is going to be a role model and a little thing that I want everybody to glue in your brains, because we need to start removing those stereotypes and that society push of, oh yeah, that sounds good in paper, but I cannot afford that. I don't have the luxury. Now we have inspiration like Dr. Bergford. It's like, okay, if in the middle of a ER with all that was going on, when at some point some of us didn't even knew if the
Hmm.
world was going to end,
Absolutely.
and then you were able to find self-care, that is such a inspiring and hopeful idea to cut off from, especially for the moms to be new moms
Hmm.
that are right now feeling lost. Because
Yeah.
one of the things that I really, and I agree with you and I love that you touched that, is one of the things that I hear a lot from my moms, and probably you do too because your moms also are entrepreneurs, but is, I lost myself.
Yes.
I am a mom, I'm a business owner, I'm a wife, I'm a friend, and at the end of the day, I don't have time for me, because
Hmm.
the time that I have at night, and I have to pick between time for me or sleep, and I know what is going to happen next day, so I go to bed. So
Hmm.
I love that you are going into that. And one of the things that I want you to go deeper and is why self care is so important for moms. And actually, I will even get the risk to say moms are the demographic group that needed the most.
Hmm.
So let's gonna go a little deeper into that, and from the physician perspective on what happened in your body when you do those acts of self care.
Oh, absolutely. So we know that naturally we are in stress mode, right? As moms, we're in stress mode. That's like an understatement of the year. Don't choke. So when your body's in stress mode, we need stress. That's natural. We actually need stress. That's what allowed us evolutionary wise to get to this point and didn't die out because that tiger was coming after us and we just sat down and didn't even think anything of it. Like, oh, maybe it's a nice little kitty cat. No, your body gave you that response system to say, oh, danger, go left, run, right? So that's natural. Now, when that stress level is consistently going on in your body, and there you're not allowing any times for break or restoration, for rest and relaxation, then you know it can go awry and it can cause like we talked about, anxiety. You can lead to depression, and you can also lead to other medical issues within your body, such as like high blood pressure. You can of course lead to levels, high blood pressure can lead to heart disease, strokes. So those are like, the end things of persistent stress. Now, why is it that as moms, you need time and you need time for yourself and to break that cycle, because that consistent stress can cause damage, and we all want to be here for our kids. That's our goal, right? To see them grow up, to be able to really watch them do well in life, and to be productive members of society. Now, when you start to incorporate self care, some of the things, even just small things, just like even laughing, giving yourself 15 minutes to just listen to something that just makes you laugh, you naturally will break that stress hormone, which is cortisol. I mean, instantly, it just breaks it. And it reduces the release of stress, the cortisol, and then it releases all these positive endorphins and the dopamine, all the like the mood altering medicine that we normally think of that's naturally within our body. It releases that. So that's important, right? So we all know dopamine is important, and then even the bonding, the same bond hormones that allows you to bond with your child, oxytocin, that hormone is within us, and it's not only for bonding with kids, it's for bonding period. So part of your self-care could really be finding time with other loved ones, people who make you happy, people who you're excited to see. If you spend time with those people, it doesn't have to be extended period of time. And I know new moms are probably like, how can I do this? It's okay, eventually you'll get to that point. That new mom period, it fades away after a while. You still can make that time to try to bond with others, and that oxytocin is still there. And then that anticipatory, like, oh, I can't wait to see my friend Joe, because we always have such an amazing time. She helps me to get away from all the stress of my day to day. That is also therapeutic. It helps. So these are some ways that naturally that you can release positive hormones within your body and help to reduce that cortisol, which is our stress response hormone. And we don't need that stress response hormone on a consistent basis. We just need it just a little, just enough to keep us alive.
Good. I love that, and it's sometimes funny, right? Because we sometimes underestimate how powerful can be to do some self-care for so many other things. Almost like breathing. Like when you tell people, oh, breathe, and people are like, okay,
I
whatever.
love reading too. I have tons of books.
Yeah. That and yeah, breathing. I was talking of
Mhm.
breathing.
Oh,
And
that too. Oh
too,
yeah, we can talk
yes.
about it.
So one of the things that is important there that it struck me is
Mhm.
when I had my baby, I had postpartum depression.
Mhm.
And by no means I'm saying that you do not have to go and have help from a medical provider, but doing self care and activating that dopamine and that
Yes,
oxytocin through self care helped me a lot to navigate that time on those first couple of months. So
absolutely.
it's something that is important for moms, and during pregnancy, first time moms, and then after that as well. Dr. Beckford, why we don't just start talking about? I like that you are also a business or woman, so you are all
Mhm.
about efficient, fast, easy. That is what we all moms do. I was actually talking with a mom yesterday, one of the moms that I help in MomFit with health and wellness,
Mhm.
and she was saying, but how I'm gonna find time to cook more and do meal prep. And then I was telling her that, well, like, that is why we as moms and females fail, because we are taking this advice from normally white males
Mhm.
that had a wife and sometimes even two or three people that help in their house. So for them it's very easy to tell you to do a fresh smoothie every day or to plan your meals fresh every day. They are not the ones changing the diapers, they are not the ones running. So for us, is
Mhm.
how we can make simple tips fast that we can incorporate. So instead of being something else that we have to do in
Mhm.
addition to everything else, is something that we can actually easily do almost in autopilot.
Yes, I love that question, and I also wanted to talk one thing about breathing Breathing is another way to also break that stress hormone. So do not underestimate it. Super powerful, powerful. 2 minutes and you can knock it out. Now, pertaining to your day-to-day life and the stressors that occur and how we can try to get autopilot. One thing that I must implore on all of our moms is the power of help. You cannot and should not do it all. You you have to get help. And I know how it is, especially if you're a first time mom. I mean, this is something you've been looking forward to and you've been bamboozled. I'm just going to be honest. You've been bamboozled by all of the media with these pictures of these fancy ways that moms are taking these, oh, everything is perfect. I mean, diapers blow out, right? So when the babies are there and they blow it at the inordinate time, like on the plane. That's what happened to me. Like my baby had never pooped outside. Took him on the plane. So so get help, get help. And if you can't, if it's not from like your significant other, if you're a single mom, community is so important, right? So if you have someone who is willing to help you, especially say we're talking about like day-to-day activities, like okay, I need help in this meal prep, and someone says, oh, I'm going to the supermarket, can I get you anything? Yes, if the answer is yes and you need something, then say yes. Don't say, ah, no, because in your mind you said, well, I don't want them to think that I am, and we know we all do this. I don't want anybody to have the impression that I'm disorganized. I don't want anyone to have the impression that I'm not the best this or the best that. So I'm going to try to just do it by myself. No, tips in order how to really get through your day. One is elicit and delegate as best as you can. If you have friends who are willing to help, allow them to help. Two, yes, you're not getting that much rest. So yes, you'll probably have to try to organize yourself on a calendar as best as you can. But here's the tip. You just write down the most important things that need to get done. The rest, if it doesn't get done, the baby's fed, the baby's clean, you are fed. You might not be clean, but you're fed because that's just life. Then you made it through. Power through, give yourself a high five. I made it through another day, right? And then you just continue on until you get to a point where you can balance the motherhood and the life. Now, when I say balance, a lot of time that balance really ends up being that you start to accept that this perfect life that you have in your mind, that's just a figment, and that once everyone around you is doing well and they're healthy, then you have succeeded. You have
I
succeeded.
love that, Dr. Beckford. And actually, that give me chills because when I had the issues with, I had several issues with breastfeeding my baby,
Mm-hmm.
and the postpartum depression and all that. And then
Yes.
I remember, um, because my husband and I live by ourselves in Ohio, neither of our families are close, so we didn't have a lot of community help and support. So
Mm-hmm.
I created support team that is going to teach my moms in, and one of them was a lactation consultant. And I
Yeah.
remember me holding Elliot in the room, rocking himself, just tearing up into
Mm-hmm.
how disappointed I was about the reality that I was living versus what I was expecting, like you were saying, that
Yes.
everything would be nice and wonderful, and feeling such a horrible mom because I was doing so much. And I remember
Yes.
her looking at me, holding my hand and saying, there is only two questions that you need to ask to know if you're a great mom. Is the baby alive? And are you alive? If those two are yes at the end of the day, that's
You
how we
succeeded.
say. And it's exactly what you are saying. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I love, and I agree with you so much, is in the power of help.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how we need to remove that conditioning from society of
Mm-hmm.
it's a badge of honor, because actually, and I don't know if you this happened to you, I'm from Colombia, but if you talk in Colombia with like the grandmothers and the great aunts, it was almost like a competition about who had it worse. Like
Oh.
who worked harder, who had the toughest position at home, and they were proud about it. Like it was
Yeah.
a moment to brag about how hard I did it, and I did it all. And I think that
Mhm.
that is being into that shaming of, if all
Asking
of
for
them
help.
did it by themselves, who am
Mhm.
I to ask for help and say that I was not able to do it alone? And I love what
Indeed.
you said. One thing that I want to talk, and I want you to also give me your feedback on this one, is
Mhm.
from the mom and from the people around the mom.
Yes.
From the mom perspective, I love what you said, and I will invite all of you mamas to do is make a list of the things that are important for you. If even better, if you are already if you are still pregnant. If not,
Mhm.
take a day that you are feeling good and write down what are the things that are important for me. For me, it's
Mhm.
very important that my toilets are clean and smell good. If that is important for you, that may not be important for me, but if it's important for you, put it in the list.
Yes.
Why? Because when somebody asks, oh, my dear, how can I help? You are going to be sleep deprived, tired, overwhelmed, not feeling good. And the
Mhm.
chances of you to just, plus the conditioning of you have to do it all, the chances for you to say, we are okay, thank you, are very
Yes.
high. If you
Absolutely.
already have that list, you can say, oh, I have a list in the refrigerator of the things that I need to do that are very important for me. Just if you pick some of that, is fine. So that
Mhm.
from the mom perspective. And now here, moms, take your friends, your significant other, your family, and let them hear this part of the show with Dr. Beckford and me. If you are supporting a mom, do not ask her what you can do to help. That is not helpful. That is one
Mhm.
more thing that you are putting in their brain for them to process. If you
Yes.
have a loving mom, if you are loving a mom to be, a new mom, and you want to help, help. Just
Yes.
take initiative. Just show up and say, hey, I was
I'm
just
here to help.
yeah, I was gonna run. I'm gonna do your laundry. Hey, I was just around and I'm gonna change your bed sheets. Hey, I was around and I went to the grocery store and picked this. Take action and start doing, because
Mhm.
it's an easy exit, right? Oh, how can I help? And then 99% of the time, the tired mom is like,
Oh,
oh, we are okay, thank you.
absolutely.
Okay, I offer. So that resonate? Like, you see that too?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love the best part of that too is that you said you're adding mental burden to that person because now they have to go through their mind. And you're right, you're sleep deprived, going through your mind and wondering, "Oh, what else?" There's so, because when you get overwhelmed, you're like, there's just so much. That's okay. That's okay. And that, that's exactly what happened. You said, that's okay. Because you're just thinking, where do I even start? From entering the door inwards, everything needs to get done, but I can't even process right now. So there are things that I think that's important for those who are loving on the moms, as you just mentioned. So I love that you said, when you come in, just do. And it's important that we recognize and allow the moms. So when you're coming over to the house, you're not coming over, especially if it's a new mom that it's sleep deprived. The first 2 weeks are the hardest. So you're not coming over to converse with the mom. Mom can't think. Take the baby, tell mom, go get some rest. I'll feed her. Where's the milk? It's in here. Okay, good. Go get some rest and feed the baby, rock the baby, bond with the baby. Let mom get some uninterrupted rest. 2 hours, 3 hours of uninterrupted rest from a new mom, that's gold. That's gold. So those just little things like that. So yes, you're bringing over the cute gift. Yes, you bring over the food, but also when you said show up and do things. Action driven, So and then new moms take that time to rest. It's a trusted person. It's the person that you trust with that baby is holding the baby. Go sleep because it's a luxury and you need it.
And that is something that is so important on the self-care is with the moms. And we're going a little bit out, but don't feel as a mom obligated to entertain visit. Like, I love what Dr. Beckford is saying is, if they show up and they are trustworthy, it's okay for you to say, hey, you know what, here's the baby. I just feed him, feed her. I'm gonna take a nap and go take a nap. Don't
Mhm.
think that, because that is something happened with some moms. It's like they have the baby, they are tired. Now they have visitors. So now they also
Yes.
are thinking about what tea are going to make and what cookies I'm gonna serve. And I add stress to that already depleted mom.
Hmm.
And then the other one that is important is, as a mom, know, that's what I was thinking about, making a list. Know what is most important for you. There are some moms that
Hmm.
is going to be very important to just, hey, hold the baby and let me nap. There are going to be moms, especially if they are struggling with things like OCD and
Yes.
psychosis after postpartum, that small things like the bathrooms being clean and the
Yes.
sinks being linked and
It's
brushing
just their mind.
are
Just
bothering
listen.
you.
Hmm.
So be very unapologetically and saying, hey, like, and that is what I always tell my moms. I say, they're like, oh, but how I'm gonna ask them to clean my toilet? Like,
Hmm.
that's awful. And then I switch it. I say, like, okay, so if you're coming to visit me and I'm
Hmm.
tired, overwhelmed, not sleep, and I ask you to clean my toilet, will you feel offended or bad? And they were like, oh my God, no, I would love to. I would love to help you. And I'm like, then why you assume that people that love you will not feel the
Not
same
do the
as you
same.
do? And they're like,
Hmm.
oh, good point.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're connecting with people who love you. So no, that random person that came over. Yeah. But these are your trusted family, friends that see that you're overwhelmed at that point, sleep deprived, overwhelmed, minds racing, and you're not getting any rest. So what can you do? Here are some things that can really put me at ease to help me through this day. Simple to ask, but it's also simple not to ask, right?
Absolutely. And I love that. And what do you think that is one of the easiest or best ways in your experience working with moms and self-care? How moms can start using that muscle of asking for help? Because
Mhm.
it's not only as a mom, I think that is a female thing that we are not feeling comfortable on speaking up and asking for what we want and what we need. So if we have somebody that is just very insecure about it, what are some
Mhm.
of the things and small things that they can do to start exercising that muscle of saying, this is how I ask for help, this is what I ask for?
So one thing I love, which is that list that you've incorporated, which is the list of things that needs to be done. So asking for help is challenging because, especially culturally, we're not depending on what culture. Like I'm from the West Indies, so a lot of times too, asking is considered begging, and that's, it's looked unfrowned upon. You're begging. It's just like a dog begging for a bone. But asking is different. Asking is just a request, and it's a yes or no answer, right? So one of that, like you said, the muscle that it requires, it really can start with just small things, or especially as a mom during that time. It's not to say that it's easiest, but it is a little bit easier because people are identifying that you have a lot on your plate and that you will need help. So that is the best time to start exercising that muscle. Now, in the physical, saying like, hey, Joe, that might be hard, but maybe you can send a message if you can't, if you feel uncomfortable speaking. Maybe you can send a message to them, a text message like, hey, I'm really having a hard time with this. Is there any way that you can help? That might not feel as uncomfortable that than physically hearing yourself say it. Um, you can also do it. Maybe you can also use your significant others to help, to express like, hey, Tamara has been feeling a lot, really overwhelmed lately, and she's asking if there's any way that we can get these particular help. So those are some quick ways to do it. Your list is a way you can send a message, or you can use someone else to help you, someone else who you feel like is a champion for you, and they, you know, that they can rally the troops for you. So, and more than likely, that's the person who put together your baby shower,
And
right?
absolutely. And I will tell you that that is where, for the moms that had a partner or have a best friend, that is a very important conversation to have.
Hmm.
I will tell you, on those dark, dark months, my husband did that a lot of times. My husband will just, without me knowing, I just knew that after the fact, but he will just call one of my friends here and say, "Hey, Joy's having a really hard time right now.
Hmm.
Is there any way that you could come by in the next couple of days?" And then, sure enough, within a day or two, my friend will be just texting, like, "Hey, I'm just going around closer to your house. Can I just stop by?" And those visits were so
Important.
empowering, so powerful.
Yeah.
She will just hold the baby. She will answer questions. She will make me feel loved and seen. And the
Hmm.
reality is, there was somebody in the backstage putting those puzzles together. So make
Yes,
sure, like Dr. Beckford says, that you have that person close enough to you that feels the freedom and the liberty to call your friends and your network when he or she sees that you need extra support and rally the troops for you.
absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just so powerful because I love the fact that you got that unadulterated like visit that's just like, hey, how are you, can I stop by? And immediately, like, I'm listening to this story and I feel warm and fuzzy, so I cannot imagine how you felt. And immediately those positive hormones that we all talk about got released, which to help you through the depression, right? So you got that serotonin, you got that dopamine, like all the things to really pull you up for that moment. So that's wonderful.
Yeah. And so now I'm going to talk a little bit about smart, easy ways to make time for self care on busy days.
Hmm.
And on busy days, we're going to be talking about people that run their own business. We're going to be talking about stay home moms. But what are some ways that we can, instead of having it add as something else in the to do list, but how we can make time for self care in busy days?
Oh, love it, love it. So, you know, self care, we always hear it and we thinking, oh my gosh, another extra hour or two. No, it can be 15 minutes, 15 minutes daily. So, we talked about even breathing, a breathing exercise. Can you imagine a 15-minute breathing exercise will really restore you? Because even just 2 to 5 minutes, I'll say, and there's some people who have this too, they'll have this their list or a playlist or a revolving list of things that they just love, that really just brings up their mood, makes them feel loved, makes them feel empowered, and then they use that as their go-to list and put it in strategic times of the day. Now I know as a mom it might be challenging, like once you start to get the baby in a routine, then you know we know that, okay, for me, my son, like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd get a little 3 o'clock break, right? So during that time, I can incorporate my self care. So my self care includes, like, I like to read. So, you know, read in something funny, something light. You know, I'm in the medical field. So a lot of the things that I'm reading is all medical. So I'm like, I don't want to read medical. I want something funny. I want to laugh, you know, release that, hormones, and just really laugh and just stress. And another thing that I love to do too is like listen to music that really, like, I love Bruno Mars. I talk about him on all of my interviews. So one day we are gonna meet. So anyway, I love listening to Bruno Mars sing, and I sing along, and it just makes me just feel just relaxed, and I just get pulled out of wherever it is that I am, whatever mood I'm in, it uplifts me. So those are just, and at 15 minutes. You can set your timer, 15 minutes for you. If you have someone who is holding, like, you're at the time of the day, or the baby's a little bit older, you have a little bit more energy, and it requires you to just walk around the block and just actually see the sun for real versus just through the windows. Do that. Just little things. But one of the things it incorporates and it requires is for you to just be intentional. intentional, and that's how you can really bring it into your day. Just being intentional and just saying, you know what, I'm giving myself 15 I mean, we have 24 hours in a day. 15 minutes I'm going to give to myself every day to really just keep me aligned. If it's painting your nails for 15 minutes at home and you look at them and you're like, I love this color, it always makes me happy, you've done it for yourself, right? Just small easy ways to do it.
And I love the perspective of the 15 minutes, right? Because when sometimes 15 minutes can be hunting, but when you compare them with 24 hours, then you start being questioning into, well, how much I care about myself that I cannot even
Yes.
give myself 15 minutes.
Yeah,
And I love that. Dr. Beckford, one other thing that I love to have your input and your wisdom on is in your phrase you said successful moms don't do it all, they
mhm,
only do what matters most.
absolutely.
How moms can start learning to have the difference between the urgent and the important, and the
Hmm.
difference between I'm doing what matters the most,
Hmm.
and then that is going to be my signal of success.
So what matters, see, that is the thing about self-care, and that why it equates is both of those relate to self, right? So what matters most? Think about what matters most to you. What are the most important? And that's really self. So you have your to-do list, and we know that it's everyone's to-do list is very long. At the top of that, what is it that's really going to push you forward that day? Now, it incorporates a couple different categories. So, one is going to be family. One is probably going to be either career, and even like stay-at-home mom, that is a career. Let's just be honest; it's one of the hardest jobs, right? And then the other might is going to incorporate self. So, your family, what's going to move your family forward the most right now? Like, what is it in this space and time that is needed? That's how you prioritize that. In the career, what's going to move that portion of your life? And this is to the moms, what's going to move that portion of your life furthest right now, like right now, right? So for if it's like in your career, and like for me, I'm an ER doc, and I know that I work nights. So what is it that I need to do during that daytime? Is that I need to rest, because in order for me to move forward at night, I'm going to need to rest. My kids, they're in school, they're at the daycare, so I can stay up and keep worrying about them all day, but is that going to move me forward? No, right? And then for self, what is it that I need to do for myself? Because I need to be at my best in order to really carry the burden of everything else that I just mentioned. So those are the things that it says. Those are the top priorities. Those are the things that's going to move me forward. And those are the things that I highlight and I ensure that I put in the forefront of my mind. Everything else, it can get done and it will get done.
I love that. And I love how you are matching that what really matters with the simple answer question of answering, is this going to move me forward on my
Mm-hmm.
journey? And one of the other things that as a engineer background and perfectionist, another tip that you can have is your to-do list
Mm-hmm.
is pick the ones that, based on
The
Dr.
key.
Beckford, the ones that matter the most. And
Mm-hmm.
these are the most, those are the things that you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then literally make a line under the last one of those to-do lists, and then see it as, I'm going to do this, and anything that I do after that are bonus points, are
Yes.
extra credits. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of just beating yourself every day because my list is huge and I'm not accomplishing it all, then it's a lot easier to say, okay, these are the key ones that I have to make done, that I have to complete today,
Absolutely.
are the one that matter the most. And then everything in top of that is the cherry in the top of the ice cream is just additional bonus. that
Yes.
also help a lot with that self-esteem, because if you do one or two, you're going to feel very good, because you're going to be like, oh, I did a lot, I did more than the
Absolutely.
minimum.
Absolutely. And then be gracious to yourself. That's the other thing that we haven't even been able to touch on that portion too. Moms, think about what you have just done, especially new moms to be. Be gracious to yourself if you have a day or two that you just don't feel like doing anything. It's okay. Think about it. You just produced a human. I mean, like, I was always fascinated, during my pregnancies. And I sat and I thought and I said, wow, inside me now, there are two hearts, right? Two stuff, like, two of everything. And that's with me having, so those of you who had twins, you had three hearts beating all at once. Like, how fascinating and amazing is that? Sit and just really give yourself grace, enjoy the experience, and don't push yourself to the point that you start to feel that you are less than because you're unable to accomplish all that you see on TV or that they show in these movies, that these moms, they look well polished and they're out pushing these strollers. And so what if you're in sweatpants? That's okay. It's okay. Just really give yourself grace. The time will come when it'll be a little bit easier. The children will get a little older, but give yourself lots of grace and lots of love on yourself, and use positive words to think about yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror. I know I might be going off on a tangent, but I just feel like it's just so important. When you look at yourself in the mirror, use positive words to describe yourself. I know your body might not look like how it did before, but you produced a human. Say how beautiful your eyes is, everything you love about you, like your curves. And for me, I have stretch marks, and I look and I said, these are my tiger stripes. I earned them. Like, I had two challenging pregnancies, and I could sit and think about how beautiful my body was before the pregnancies, but I produced two humans in two challenging pregnancies. Like, I'm superhuman. So love on yourself, moms. Don't berate yourself. Don't use negative words to when you look at yourself in the mirror. Pump yourself up. And those who are around you also, those who love on you, stop using those negative terms. Oh, you still haven't lost the baby weight? That's demoralizing. you know Love on these women. You've been able to get a grandchild, you've been able to get a niece, a nephew. Don't sit and talk about the woman's body. Embrace what she has done and all the things that she's about to do and all of her day-to-day life. Let's really champion and just be there for our women and support and push each other up. And even this month too is Women's History Month, so let's be even better champions for our moms during this month.
And thank you so much for that, Dr. Beckford. And you are so right, because it's very easy to see the glass half empty. One of the things that came to my mind that I'm doing right now, I told you before we started the show that my baby woke up every hour last night, is
Hmm.
things like that. Is like how amazing I am that I am able to function, sleep
Yes.
deprived, when in World War II they use sleep deprivation as a torture with
Method.
prisoners to break them down. And
Hmm.
we as females are able to function and take care of a baby without sleep deprivation that on males will just use as a the
Oh,
deepest torture to break them down in war. So
yes.
feeling that empowering. Dr. Beckford, it's been such an amazing time. I love your wisdom. I love what you are doing in the world with companies, with moms, with entrepreneur moms. Uh, Now that we are getting close to close the show, it's amazing
Mhm.
how time flies when we are having fun. I would love for you to share, like, if you could just share one powerful tip or tool with these moms and moms to be, and also for the ones that completely fall in love with you, that I know that there are going to be many, how they can reach out to you, where they can connect with you if they want to keep learning from you.
Absolutely. So, those powerful moms, and I hope by now you have recognized that you are a powerful person. I would say that one, keep at it, do not give up. Keep your mind centered and make sure that you put at least 15 minutes to yourself. Give yourself 15 minutes a day for self care, for self love, for self appreciation. Use that time. And if it requires looking in the mirror and saying how beautiful you are, use that time. Use that time to write down all your wonderful thoughts and everything that you aspire to be or have done. Keep that forefront in your mind. You are powerful, you are loved, and you are supported most of all, right? So keep that in mind because I know you'll feel lonely, but you are supported, and don't try to do it all. And for those of you guys who are out there, or ladies, I should say, out there, and you would like to keep in contact with me, you can find everything about me at my website, which is yourcaringdocs.com. That's URCARINGDOCS.com. You can contact me on LinkedIn, which is Dr. Tamara Beckford. That's my name. That's on there. Tamara, B as in boy, ECKFORD. And I'd love to hear from you. You can send me an email at Dr. Beckford at yourcaringdocs.com. That's Dr. Beckford, my last name, at URCARINGDOCS.com.
Thank you so much, Dr. Beckford. And I love that. So if you want to hear back from her, remember this, you're caring dogs, and then her team is going to connect with you and help you to learn a little bit more for her. And one of the powerful things, and I want all of you to promise me this, I want you to do this, and I want you in social media to go and put a picture and tag Dr. Beckford and
Ooh,
tag me as at Unicorn Mama Coach, and let us know what you did today for 15 minutes to do some
that,
self love, self care, self appreciation. And then, like I love the way that she closed the session today is remembering how powerful you are and embracing that she start with this. I don't know if you pay attention. She start with this and finish with this, and that is you are not alone. Sometimes you feel like it, but there is a lot of us behind you here, willing to help you, willing to support you, and to make something amazing. Dr. Tamara, we have a couple of seconds more.
yes.
One of the things that I would love for you to share very briefly
Mhm.
is the work that you do with moms that are entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. So, moms who are entrepreneurs, you can also contact me. So, some of the things that you have to keep in mind is that, yes, you have two babies at the same time. So, you're taking care of your physical baby, and then you're taking care of your entrepreneurial self. Entrepreneurship can be and feel like a lonely place, just like motherhood. And so, it's important for you to have the support. So keep in mind that, and you can, if you're looking for support and you're looking for support from other entrepreneurs and other women, then you can also contact me. Ways to keep in us in mind and keep forefront and really keep us sharp, and iron sharpens iron. That's what it says in the Bible. And so being around others who are going through the same thing will make your journey just less unpleasant, right? Because you'll be able to really move forward in your life with others who are doing the same or has gone through that path and be able to mentor you. So you can definitely contact me also at Dr. Beckford at yourcaringdocs.com.
Thank you so much. And that was so powerful
Mhm.
to know, and that we are the average of the five people that we spend most time with, right? So I was going
Absolutely.
to make sure that the five people that we spend more time with us are uplifting us, loving us, supporting us, caring us, so we can keep
Absolutely.
doing the most important job in the planet, that is raising these amazing humans that are going to
Yes.
change the world and change the
Oh,
humanity. So, Dr.
thank
Tamara
you.
Beckford, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so
And
much for
for
having me.
all of the news and programming, Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it.